when you say, as we explained, money printing is you're introducing money into the system. So that means the more cash is getting into the hands of people. Now what happens as a result is that when people have cash, there is a normal tendency for consumption. So people go for a lot of consumption commodities. But at the same time, if you have a situation where there are a lot of goods that are imported, are available in the market, people begin to purchase these goods as well. So then what happens is, with the money circulation, with money in the hands of people, if the production is not taking place within the country, that production boost gets injected to some other country because of our import bias in the system. So if you print money, one way of getting the money into price escalation is people begin to buy a lot of imports. So you find the imports are going to be more and more as a result, and then it affects two ways. One is your imports and exports difference going in the direction of imports. So that means you're going to face a more inflated, bloated trade balance situation, and hence the current account situation. The second problem is that when the imports are there and more imports coming in, there's a pressure on the currency because more currencies are demanded to import goods. Once that happens, then the inevitable outcome of that is either you have to supplement that with more dollars being injected into the system, which will keep the currency in a certain level, or you let the imports to take the whatever the currencies in the market, thereby putting more pressure on the currency, and that creates the exchange rate to go adversely, which, putting in another way, the local currency begins to depreciate fairly rapidly. Now this we saw in the last government regime, where they had a system of, they introduced a lot of cash into the system because they inflated expenditure, and also they at the same time they had a very flexible free trade regime. So that means imports were not considered as under any restriction. So what happened was, this took the balance of payment into the negative territory more and more, while at the same time putting more pressure on the exchange rate. So as a result, as you could see here, printing money can permeate through inflation channel unless this inflation channel is blocked to a certain extent. So in the present context, the chances, most of the luxury consumer commodities, especially things like cars and other stuff, are restricted. So the channel has been blocked to a very large extent. So therefore the printing money does not find the same pathway to pressure on the exchange rate and pressure on the balance of payment. However, it does not mean it is totally immune from that system either. There is some pressure, but that is a kind of a status quo that we all have to face under normal circumstances, or maybe slightly over the average baseline situation.